For a while there it was rough, but lately I've been doing better than the last 4 cold Decembers I recall. And I see my family every month. I found a girl my parents love. She'll come and stay the night, and I think I might have it all. And I thank God every day for the girl He sent my way. But I know the things He gives me, He can take away. And I hold you every night, and that's a feeling I wanna get used to. But there's no man as terrified as the man who stands to lose you. Oh, I hope I don't lose you. Please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. Don't take these beautiful things that I've got. Please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. Don't take these beautiful things that I've got. Please don't take. I found my mind, I'm feeling sane. It's been a while, but I'm finding my faith. If everything's good and it's great, why do I sit and wait till it's gone? Oh, I tell you, I know I've got enough. I've got peace and I've got love, but I'm up at night thinking I just might lose it all. Please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. Don't take these beautiful things that I've got. Please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. I need these beautiful things that I've got.
Time stood still, just like a photograph. You made me feel like this will last forever. Looking in your eyes, I see my whole life. Oh, they say you know it, but you know it, and I know. Oh, promise that you'll hold me close, don't let me go. Take my heart, don't break it. Love me to my bones. All this time I wasted, you were right there all along. You and I start gazing, intertwining souls. We were never strangers. You were right there all along. I lose my mind when I'm around you, how I come alive. When I'm without you, I can't help but feel so lost. I wanna give you all I've got. Oh, they say you know it, but you know it, and I know. Oh, promise that you'll hold me close, don't let me go. Take my heart, don't break it. Love me to my bones. All this time I wasted, you were right there all along. You and I start gazing into heart, don't break it. Love me to my bones. All this time I've wasted, you were right there all along.
I know sleep is friends with death, but maybe I should get some rest. 'Cause I've been out here working all damn day. Blueberries and butterflies, the pretty things that greet my eyes when you call and I say I'm on my way. You and me belong together like cold iced tea and warm weather, where we lay out late underneath the pines and we still have fun when the sun won't shine. You and me belong together all the time. Spilling wine and homemade drinks, we throw a cheers, the worries sink. Damn it, it's so good to be alive. We know that we don't got much, but then again it's just enough to always find a way for a good time. You and me belong together like cold iced tea and warm weather, where we lay out late underneath the pines and we still have fun when the sun won't shine. You and me belong together. This love is all we need. Oh, we've got so much. You and me, oh, you and me belong together like cold iced tea and warm weather, where we lay out late underneath the pines and we still have fun when the sun won't shine. You and me belong together all the time. Goes on and on and on. Goes on and on and on. Goes on and on and
I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. When you call for me, when I hear you breathe, I get wings to fly. I feel that I'm alive. When you bless the day, I just drift away. All my worries that I'm glad that I'm alive. You set my heart on fire, filled me with love, made me woman. Couldn't get much higher. My spirit takes flight, 'cause I am alive. When you call on me, when I hear you breathe, I get wings to fly. I feel that I'm alive. I'm alive. God knows that I'm alive, that I'll be the one standing by through good and through trying times. And it's only begun. I can't wait for the rest of my life. Couldn't get much higher. My spirit takes flight, 'cause I'm alive. When you call on me.
With over 20 years of innovation and 7 million customers globally, Intuit QuickBooks knows a thing or two about financial technology. We also know what it's like doing the books the hard way. The hours you spend entering client data. It's easy to make mistakes and hard to find those mistakes when you realize the numbers are off. Chasing clients for their latest statements. Why is it so hard? Trawling emails. Long emails sent on different days with different attachments. It's so disjointed and inefficient. But those times, put them behind you, because the future is here. Introducing QuickBooks Online Accountant. Your life and business is about to get easier and a lot less stressful. As a bookkeeper or accountant, your account is free. All your clients' books are kept behind one secure login. And because it's in the cloud, you can sign in and work on your clients' books from anywhere in the world. With password-protected login, multi-factor authentication, firewall-protected servers, and state-of-the-art encryption technology, we'll keep your data private and protected for your peace of mind. As an accountant or bookkeeper, you'll get access to discounted QuickBooks Online files for your small business clients. Choose to pass the bill to your client or be charged yourself and include it in your fees. Your dashboard is connected to their account, so they can upload receipts with their phone and you'll be able to see everything. No more chasing. Plus, if they sync their bank account, you can see what they're spending and earning in real time, not weeks or months later, so you can share your timely and relevant advice. You'll love being able to run reports in minutes with a range of preset or custom professional reports. And there's a selection of customized accounting tools and AI to help you do everything you do, but faster. Access unlimited training and education to help you get started and become a master. Plus, if you ever get stuck, there's award-winning customer support. As you get the hang of using it and start saving hours of time, you'll get badges and awards you can put on your email signature, website, and LinkedIn to show off your increasing status and professional expertise. You'll join a Facebook community of other people like you with similar experiences. But best of all, helping your clients is about to become a whole lot easier. Introducing QuickBooks Online Accountant. The future is here.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our session today. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. So welcome to Get Certified QuickBooks Online Accountant Certification Training. I'm really excited to be here and to share our knowledge with you. It's going to be a very exciting session, so please stay in your seats. So just to introduce myself, I'm Nadine Augustine, QuickBooks Advisor. I'm part of the Intuit Trainer Writer Network. I'm the founder of Zen Accountants, and I'm a registered business accountant. So I really enjoy training accountants, helping them reach their goals, as well as running my own firm. And I'm really excited to share this presentation with you. So before we get started, I just want to show you the sign-up process for the session today. So you should be able to see the link for the sign-up. So before we get started, you do need to sign up on QuickBooks Online Accountant if you have not already, because this is where you're going to be taking the certification exam. And obviously you are going to be using this product. So I'm just going to jump in and show you how to get started. Second. Okay, so you should be able to see the screen. It is on this link, quickbooks.intuit.com, global accountant software. And you're going to be choosing your country. So it's a free sign up for accountants, and it's going to ask you to select your country to start streamlining your practice. So for example, I am in South Africa, but I'm going to choose a different one for you today. I'm going to choose Singapore, and then it's going to take you to the screen. So all you're going to do is you're going to click on free sign up for accountants. And you're going to create your account. So you're going to put in your email address, your first name, your last name, your password, and your phone number. And then you obviously can toggle this on and off if you'd like to receive helpful marketing emails and SMSs from Intuit and its partners. So because I've already got an account, I'm just going to go to sign in. I'm going to put in my email address. Going to sign in. So you can see here, it says you already have a QuickBooks firm, sign into QuickBooks. I'm going to choose my company. I'm going to go to training. So in your training section, you're going to be able to see your training. You should maybe have an intro to the accountants, but the one that you need to do is the QuickBooks Online certification, and you're going to go follow the stuff and take the exam. Okay, so if everybody's comfortable, we're going to move on to the presentation. Okay, so we've got some additional resources. Here we've got our QuickBooks Accountants training. So all the training events you will see will be there. We've got Firm of the Future blog, which is a really interesting blog to look at. And then we've got the Intuit Marketing Hub. So you can get a lot of marketing material here. So this is our agenda. We've got 2 sessions. So the first session is going to be module 1, which is QuickBooks features, create a company and dashboard, QuickBooks account and settings, manage users, multi-currency and chart of accounts, and module 4 is inventory management. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a question and answer session at the end. So please keep all your questions for the end, where I will be going through them for you to assist you with anything you need. So part 2 of our session, we will have module 5, which is supplier purchase and bill payments, module 6, which is your customer sales and receive payments, module 7, you've got reports, tax, QuickBooks app, and recurring transactions, and then we ending off with module 8, which is online banking. So welcome to QuickBooks. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to understand Intuit's journey into the cloud accounting marketplace. You're going to be able to recognize where QuickBooks Online sits in Intuit's product suite, and you're going to learn how QuickBooks Online Accountant works with apps and the ecosystem. So the QuickBooks Online family, we have a few products to offer you. So in Simple Start, that's where it all begins. It's great for new service-based businesses who are just starting out. Obviously, you can see it supports your accounts receivable, your accounts payable, and financial reporting. Then if you look at your essentials, it's perfect for service-based businesses who invoice for time. So this also covers the same thing, and it has extra financial reporting abilities. You've got the Plus version, which is great for product-based businesses with inventory that they want to track and require advanced reporting and profitability tracking. The users also increase with this, and it just depends on what you need or what your client needs to use this for. Okay, so the QuickBooks Online ecosystem, and this is something really great. So if your client really needs something that is not what QuickBooks offers, there's a wide range of applications that you can use to provide those services or those features to your clients. So there's an amazing apps button or tab on your QuickBooks Online account, your accountant account, and you can be able to search through applications, through categories, through the favorites, and really see what's going to work well for your clients. So it's really for those special features. So getting a free account, we have looked at this before. So that is your link for getting your account. So don't forget to sign up and get your account and change your location at the top to make sure you're in the correct language and location. So this is just a little bit more of the sign up process. So again, sign in if you've got an Intuit account and sign up if you do not have an account. So navigating QuickBooks Online Accountant. So we're going to start here. So by the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to manage your clients and your practice all in one place, recognize the main features of QuickBooks Online Accountant and how to access the client's QuickBooks Online and the accountant toolbox. You're going to understand how to navigate a client's company from QuickBooks Online Accountant as well. So this is just a little screenshot of the dashboard on QuickBooks Online Accountant. And as you can see, this is the client dashboard. So you're going to be able to see all of your clients in one place. You're going to be able to do your books review from here. The lead is basically who has brought the client into the business. And then you've also got your action tabs. So as you can see on clients, you've got an overview and a bookkeeping screen as well. So if we look here, we've got number one, which is your team. That is going to show you all of your team members and if they are certified. Number two, you've got your books, which is an overview of your books. And then number three, we've got your overview and bookkeeping tab, which I mentioned before. Number four, we've got a magnifying glass. This is basically to help you search for anything in your QuickBooks Online Accountant. And you will also use this in your client's file to search for it to search for anything. So you can search for transactions, you can search for bank transactions, invoices, anything you would use that magnifying glass. Number five is everything to do with your practice. So there you can see you've got your clients, you've got your team, your training, where you're going to do your certification. You've got a work tab, so that's a great practice management tool. And then you've got that app screen that I mentioned as well. And then number six is just the settings button. So you're going to be able to access all your accountant settings there, your subscription and billing and so forth. So if your client has a QB logo on the left-hand side, that means that these clients actually have QuickBooks Online. But the QB logo actually needs to be green for it to show you that there is a QuickBooks Online account linked to this client. So this is just a little bit more of a screen grab of your practice. These are your books. So with QuickBooks Online Accountant, once you've been certified, you do get a free accounting tool for your own firm where you can run your own books. So as you can see, you've got your overview, you've got your dashboard, you've got your banking, everything that you'll need to run your own practice. And at the top, we've got a client switcher. So that's a great tool to use to quickly find which client you want to work in and then jump to that client's file. So as I mentioned, this is the magnifying glass. If you do click on it, it's going to show you recent transactions, but you also do have an advanced search where you can filter in and navigate exactly what you are looking for. We've also got a new button. So your new button is anything to do in your accounting file. So you're going to be able to do an invoice. You're going to be able to create a customer. You're going to be able to pay bills, do journal entries, pull a statement. So this is just a little shortcut tool for you to run your business. So the settings icon, which is called the gear icon, here is a screenshot of what you can look for in this this function. So as you can see, you've got company settings, you got custom form styles, you've got chart of accounts, you've also got your budgeting, your sample company is here. So we are going to use the sample company when we are doing some demo. You've got your importing of data, your budgeting, your audit log is also there, and you've got your custom fields and all the other goodies. So again, this is just a client list, screenshot of all your different clients. And it's also going to show you if there is any banking errors on the bank feed. If you go into a certain client, if you've clicked into a client, you're going to be able to see the client's address, their email, so you can email them straight from the system, and you can actually call them. So it'll pull up their details. You can also add any notes for this client. So if you need to have a meeting with them, you can put the note in there. You can add shared documents as well, which is really great. And you can also edit the client from here. So you can edit their client details. So if you want to add a client, so let's say you've got a new client that's come on and you need to add them onto your profile, you're going to click onto that green banner or that green button which says add client. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through before we get to this section, and I'm going to show you a little bit around QuickBooks Online Accountant before we get into the certification. Okay, so I'm already logged in. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of a client overview screen under your books. You can see all the different clients and what needs to still be done. Here's your client switcher, so you can switch between your clients. If you go to your client screen in your practice, you're able to see the different clients and you can start the review. If you go to overview, you're able to see the email addresses as well as any unaccepted transactions and some banking connection errors. You can also edit the client here. You can make them inactive, or you can go delete, or you can change their subscription as well. If we go to the settings, you can see you've got your subscription, your team, your company settings, your chart of account. We've got Smart Look, we've got rules, all of the necessary tools. Your new tab, you've got some things that you can do here. You can add a customer through here. And if you need to, you can watch the video tutorials. You've also got your accountant toolbox, which is not to be forgotten. So here you can go to your chart of accounts, you can go to close the books off, you can go to void or deleted transactions, and there are some tools for you to use as well. So here you've got your app screen, so you can find apps, you can search for them, browse by category, or look at the editor's picks, and these are all the applications that you can add into your system. If we go to team, you're able to see your team members. You can edit them. You can see their user activity. You can add a new user. You can look at the certifications for each member who is certified, and you can see their roles. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to the presentation. And we're going to start with module 1, which is QuickBooks features, create a company, and dashboard. Okay, so we're going to look at creating a company. So creating a company in QuickBooks Online is very easy and straightforward. You're first going to start with choosing which software subscription you'd like to use. Do you want to use Simple Start, Essentials, or Plus? And this all depends on what your client needs. So Simple Start, you are able to track income and expenses. You can send custom invoices and quotes. You can connect your bank. You can track that. It is for one user plus your accountant. So as you can see, it really is a simple start. Then we've got our Essentials. So it's a simple start Plus, you've got insights and reports. You can manage employees. You do have multi-currency here. It's for 3 users plus your accountant. Then you've got your plus version. So it's everything in Essentials plus your recurring transactions. You've got tracking inventory. You can track your insights and reports. And it's got projects and locations, which is great. And it's for 5 users plus your accountant. So you really need to look at what your client needs. And then from there, you can guide them on what software is best for them. So getting an account again, the best application or the best internet browser, to use is going to be Google Chrome and Firefox. It is the most suited for QuickBooks Online to get the full functionality out of your subscription. So once you've signed in and you've opened a new QuickBooks Online account, this is the screen you're going to see. It's going to say, tell us about your business and what would you like to do in QuickBooks Online. So when it says, tell us about your business, it is going to ask for certain information. It's going to ask for the name of the company and how long has the business been operating. So that's just some information for them to get to be able to assist you correctly. And when you go to what would you like to do, you can obviously choose here that you want to send and receive invoices, or you want to track retail sales, or you want to pay your employees. So you're just going to choose what you want to do with the system. Okay, now we're going to go to lesson 3, which is the dashboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the modules, and then at the end, before we break, we're going to go through the demo. So if you look at the dashboard here, so this is in your client file, but you'll notice that once you're in QuickBooks Online Accountant and you're going through your client files, you're actually going to have a grayed out left-hand ribbon. So on your dashboard, you've got a getting things done and you've got a business overview. So on your getting things done, you've got some shortcuts. So you've got maybe an add a customer, you can track time, you can receive a payment, pay a bill, add a bill. So these are just some shortcuts to get you going. See, on the dashboard, once we go to business overview, you are able to see your profit and loss, some bank account information, expenses, invoices, and sales. And these are all able to change according to which date range you are looking for. So let's say, for example, you have a company that would like to sell products online. They ask you to look for an application that makes it easy for customers to buy online. However, they also want to be efficient and they do not want to have to manually enter sales into QuickBooks. They basically want the sales to automatically input into QuickBooks Online and sync with their data. So where's a good place to start once you're in your client's QuickBooks Online account? So you're going to be able to go to the Apps tab preferred delivery method, you've got some custom fields. If you want to put shipping on and off, if you aren't offering that service, you've also got a discount field and a deposit field. You've got product and services. So we're going to be putting product and service on the sales form. So do you want the SKU column on or off? Do you want to track quantity and product and rate? And do you want to track inventory quantity on hand? So those are all on and off buttons. Then you've got progress invoicing. So this is basically where you want to have one quote and you're going to progress invoice that quote. So it works really well for construction industry. So you're going to create one big quote for the whole project, and then you're going to invoice it in stages. So just bear in mind that I am demoing and explaining the Plus version because it has all of the features. Under expenses, you do have some bill and expenses functionality. So you've got tracking expenses and items by a customer. You can make expenses and items billable, and you've also got your toggle here for your purchase orders. If this is off, you are not able to access purchase orders. So it's very important to come and switch this on. Under time, you can choose your first day of the work week, and under timesheet, you are able to have a few features there as well. In advanced, you have the ability to change the first month of your financial year. You can change the first month of your tax year if that is different. And it's very important that you read that it says your first month. You've got your accounting method, whether it is accrual or cash, and you've got a closing off the books as well as your default tax rate. You've also got your company type, so again, your tax form. You can enable account numbers for your chart of accounts if that is something that interests you. Here you can also switch on classes and locations if that is necessary for your client. And there is also some automation to pre-fill some previously entered content. So if you have a client that is very prone to going and messing up the books, or you simply want to close off the books so you do not go in and transact on any previously entered data, you are going to go to close the books. And what you're going to do is you're going to set a password and the date of the books you want to close. The books will then not be able to be accessed unless you enter that password. So this is really going to help you to not make any errors on previously closed books and to know that your data is secure and complete. Okay, then we're going to look at module 3, and I hope you guys are enjoying the session. I know I'm going quite quickly, but it is quite a punchy session. So we're going to start with manage users. Okay, so we do have a few user permissions. We've got time tracking, which is 1. We've got reports only, we've got a company admin, and we've got a standard user. So if you look at time tracking, this is specifically a special version of QuickBooks Online that only has timesheets. This does not count towards your user count at all. We've also got reports only. This is also a special version that gives them access to almost all of the reports. And again, this does not count towards the user count. We've got a company administrator. So that has access, user has access to all areas of QuickBooks Online, including settings, and it has full access rights to all the other services. And then you've got a standard user. So this standard user can control which area of QuickBooks the user has access to. And in the standard user, you can give them access to, let's say, customers or suppliers or none, or both. So to go to manage users, you're going to go to your gear icon. You're going to click on manage users under your company, and it's going to pop up with that screen at the bottom where it says manage users with the company or your team members details or the user's details. If you want to add a new user, you are going to click on that add user button. And what's nice with QuickBooks is it always guides you in green. So whatever you need to do is going to be guiding you in that. Okay, so we've got adding and managing users. So once we've clicked on add a user, it's going to ask you what type of user do you want to add? And in this example, we are going to look at the standard user. So once we do click on standard user, it's going to say select access rights. So it's going to say how much access do you want to have? Do you want this user to have all access, no access, or do you want it limited to customers or suppliers? And once you click on one of the customers or suppliers, it is going to show you on the right-hand side what information they have access to and what functionality they do have and what they don't. So once you've clicked on all, for example, it's going to give you another pop-up and it's going to say, do you want this user to add, edit, and remove users? Yes, no, or view only. Do you want them to edit company info? And do you want them to manage subscriptions? So reports only users, just to mention this, have access to almost all reports. The one report they don't have access to is information that includes contact information for customers, suppliers, and employees. So your reports only users can really just access, your profit and loss or your balance sheet information. So also just remember that you can create custom users and regular users, so that's under your standard. And then you've got that time tracking and reporting, which do not count to your user limit. Okay, now we're going to go to multi-currency. So this is a very specialized section. So basically what you're going to do is if your client operates in multiple currencies, as the name explains, you are going to switch this feature on. Just remember that once you switch it on, you cannot switch it off. So it's very important to only access this feature if you know your client needs it. Okay, so if we do go to multi-currency, you're going to go to it under your accounts and settings, under your gear icon, and you're going to go to advanced. So under advanced, you are going to see your home currency. You're going to choose whichever currency is your home currency, and obviously this is your client's home currency. And then you're going to go onto multi-currency. So again, just your gear button and accounts and settings. And then once you click on multi-currency, it's going to give you this little pop-up. It's going to tell you multi-currency may be right for you if you have financial currencies or financial transactions in more than one currency. And then there's also another help feature just to help you decide about multi-currency. Then it warns you. Once you turn on multi-currency, you cannot turn it off. You cannot change your home currency. There's extra fields and columns that are added to your QuickBooks, and there are some features that may no longer be available. So again, it's going to ask you, do you understand that you cannot undo multi-currency? You're going to tick on that tick box and you're going to click save. So just be sure that you are completely comfortable with that. Okay. So next, we've got the multi-currency. Once it's on, you can see it says your home currency is Philippine peso, and then you've got your multi-currency that's on. You're then going to click on manage currencies. Once you click on manage currencies, you are going to see the different currencies that are already there. It should give you a few options that you generally do work with. You are then going to click on add a currency if you want to add a new currency. And once you click on add a currency, it's going to ask you which currency do you want to add. And there are all the currencies you can think of. Once you've added this currency, it will show you the exchange rate. And as you can see, the exchange rate will update every day at a certain time. So you can be sure that you have the correct exchange rate on a daily basis. But let's, for example, say that you have an agreement with your customer and that customer is going to give you a set exchange rate to work with. You are then going to go to edit currency exchange rate and you're going to put the exchange rate in there that the company has offered you. So just to give you a little bit of insight around multi-currency, if you're not completely familiar, basically what it does, if you invoice a client in the US dollar, right, and you are in the you have Philippine peso as your home currency. If you invoice it today, and let's say the exchange rate is 50.3655, it is going to give you a figure. Then when you receive money from that customer, maybe 5 days later, and the exchange rate has dropped, basically you are receiving less than what you invoiced, and you will actually have a loss on the exchange rate. So in your profit and loss, you will either have gains or you'll have losses of your exchange rate, and that forms part of your profit and loss, which you will actually use for reporting purposes. What's amazing is that when a customer does pay and it is multi-currency, the complete invoice is allocated regardless of whether there is a drop or an increase in the currency, but that gain is accounted for, or that loss, in your profit and loss. So as you can see, if the currency was added, you are able to see the actual currency, as well as editing the exchange rate under actions, the time at which it has updated, as well as the exchange rate. Okay, so then we're going to look at your chart of accounts. And this is still in module 3. So chart of accounts is a very, very important setup feature when you are setting up your client's account. So as you can see, we do have several different options. So we've got assets, we've got liabilities, we've got equity, income, and expenditure. So under assets, for example, you'll maybe have your checking account, you'll have inventory, you'll have equipment. Under liabilities, you've got a mortgage, you've got a loan, and you've got your sales tax payable. Equity, you've got your owner invested funds and your retained earnings and or accumulated loss. Under income, it's self-explanatory, all your different income options. And under expenses, you've got different type of expenses that you do incur, such as advertising, payroll, and office expenditure. So what is the role of product and services in QuickBooks? Right? So product and service is very important because that is what you use when you are doing your invoicing or creating your bills. So let's, for example, say that we sell computer software or so that computer software is an actual item. So your income account is actually what's going to show on your profit and loss. So if you want to split your income between your different product and services, you'll have to create multiple income accounts. And then your expense account is obviously going to be that bill you're going to create when you actually buy that item to sell. If it is a service item, you will not have an expense account. There will only be an income account because there is nothing that is being purchased to sell that item. So you're going to use income accounts on sales receipts and expenses in checks and bills. So this all links together in one happy family. So it is very important to create your product and services correctly and make sure you choose the right income account and the right expense account to link to it. So why my clients need a customized chart of account? So you've got customers that have various needs. So it could be that they're a different industry. So maybe they're a product-based company, they're a real estate company, or they are construction. It could be that they have a different company structure. So maybe they are a sole owner or a partnership or non-profit. Or it could be that they just have different workflows. So maybe a point of sale or payroll or loans or job costing. It just depends on what they need. Remember, the goal of a chart of account is to just have accurate, complete, and meaningful data, and so that reports can be generated to provide insight into a business's performance. So we've got ways to customize the chart of accounts. So as well as adding accounts, you're able to edit the default chart of account. You can edit the names of default accounts. You can add account numbers. You can merge duplicate accounts because that does happen. You can make unused or redundant accounts inactive, but you cannot delete an account. Many firms use a standard chart of accounts across all their clients. So this really depends. If you have one client that is in a specific industry and you focus on that niche, then you can use that same chart of account across all your different clients that's in that niche or in that industry. But you can also offer a standard chart of account, but I really like offering a customized chart of account to my clients for their reporting needs. So to edit accounts, it's very easy. You're going to go to Accounting and Chart of Accounts, and you're going to click on the Action button, and there's a little drop down next to Account History, and you're going to click on Edit. So in this example, you can see cash and cash equivalents is being edited. If you go, you can edit the account type, you can edit the detail type, and you can edit the name. So it gives you a few options to do. And then once you've done, you click on Save and Close. So just remember that if you want to use your own set of chart of accounts, you can import these chart of accounts. So you're going to go to the gear icon, you're going to click on Import Data and choose the Chart of Accounts button. So if your client has asked you to simplify their display of their chart of accounts, because this can look quite messy or quite busy for a business owner, what are you going to do? Basically, you're going to click on that smaller gear icon in your chart of accounts screen. And you're going to click on Add or Remove Columns. So you're going to add or remove certain columns which are necessary or unnecessary. So we're now going to look at merging accounts and making them inactive. So a cluttered chart of accounts can really confuse clients and it can make reporting less effective. So by making an account inactive, you're going to do so when it is not relevant to the client's business, if the balance is 0 and the account is being closed, or if it is just no longer needed. And you're going to merge an account where two accounts serve the same categorical purpose or they are duplicates. So one of the most favorite examples I like to use is bank charges and bank fees. Exactly the same account, just it was created twice. So just remember that merging is not reversible, it is permanent and it cannot be undone. So how do you go about merging an account? You're going to go to your two accounts that you do find, and you're going to edit the one that is incorrect. So let's say I want to keep bank charges. So we're going to go to our bank fees and we're going to edit that. So this is the one you want to keep. You're going to copy it because again, you don't want to type the wrong thing. So it's just safer to go ahead and copy this data. You're going to go to the one that you want to get rid of, and that's the bank fees, and you're going to paste over it so that it reads bank charges. Once it has done that, it's going to say that the name is already being used. Would you like to merge the two? And you're going to say yes or no. And once that is done, you're going to see that bank fees has been deleted in brackets and that you have a bank charges as your new account. And all your transactions that was in bank fees will now be in bank charges. And just remember that this can be done for customers, it can be done for suppliers. There's many different things in which you can merge the two, and all of the history that was in the one that you want to get rid of does go into the correct one. And then if you look at how to make an account inactive, you're going to click on that action button on your chart of account, and you're going to click on Make Inactive. Again, it's just going to ask you, are you sure? So QuickBooks is never going to make you do something and you're like, oh no, I did that by mistake. And again, once it is inactive, you can see that it says it has been deleted, but in actual fact, it's not deleted, it's actually just inactive. And you can go ahead and make it active again if you do need to use it. Right, so now we're going to look at sub-accounts. Sub-accounts are really, really great for reporting purposes. So let's, for instance, say, and I always like to use this example for motor vehicle. So if you want to group your motor vehicle expenses, you've got gas or petrol, you've got repairs and maintenance, you've got licensing and registration, and you want to see all of those separately. You are going to create your one account as your motor vehicle expenses, and then you're going to go and create those other accounts that's underneath it. And when you create those accounts, you will say that this account is a sub account, and you're going to choose motor vehicle expenses. Another example is travel and accommodation. You can split that into hotel, rental cars, airfare, and meals. So in that way, you can be able to see a grouping of your travel and accommodation, but you're also able to see the breakdown for each category. And this is great for reporting purposes as well. Okay, now we are on module 4, and we're going to look at inventory management. And we're going to have a look at your product and services. So there are 4 types of product and services. You've got your inventory, your non-inventory, your services, and your bundle. So inventory is products you buy and sell and that you track quantities of. Non-inventory are products you buy and sell, but you do not need to track quantities of. So it's more like your nuts and bolts in an installation. Then you've got your services. So this is just something you provide a service for. So maybe landscaping or tax preparation or accounting services. Then you've also got your bundle. So this is a group of things that you sell together. So you could be selling 2 different products together, or maybe a product and a service together. So product and services, if you go to the settings under sales, there are a few features that you can switch on and off, as I have shown you earlier. But what is the exact purpose for a product and service? So it's there to make it easy for clients to fill out forms. It's there to handle the debits and credits behind the scenes for the client. You can track inventory purchased, sold, and quantities on hand. You can track materials and supplies purchased and sold by your customer. So those are all things that a product and service does, and that is why it's so important to set up correctly. So if we go to add a product and service, you're going to go under you're going to click on the gear icon, you're going to go to the list menu, and you're going to click on product and services. You're then going to click on the green button that says new. Remember that you can import product and services as well. So if you do click on the drop down, it is going to show you import. You're going to choose what type of product and service you want to add. In this example, service has been chosen. Once a service has been chosen, or your product and service type, you're going to give it a name. You can put an image in there. It's going to ask you, do you want to put a SKU in? Is it a sub product and service? That's quite cool as well. It's going to give you a sales description. So you're going to click that I do sell this product and service. And it's going to give you a sales price, that income account that I did mention, and then your sales tax category. So as I did mention, you can import this data. So if you do go to your gear icon and import data, you can click on product and services. And as you can see here, there are many types of data that you can import. So you've got your bank data, your customers, your suppliers, your chart of accounts, product and services, invoices, and bills. So that's also a really great tool. Now, if we go to sales, it's another way to basically get to your product and services. So you're going to click on the sales icon or the sales tab, and you're going to go to product and services, and then you're going to either click on new or import. And once you're on your product and service screen, you're able to see all your different types of product and services. You're able to see low stock, items out of stock, and you're able to edit these product and services as what you need. That comes to the end of our module. I'm going to quickly jump into product to just show you a little bit around what I have explained in this session before we go to a break. Okay, so I'm just going to jump into the sample company. Please just give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen and the sample company. Great. as you can see, this is showing that we are in the accountant toolbox or the accountant version. So we've got our dashboard, and that's where we're starting. So just before I start, please know that this is the US version. So the sample company is always in that version, and it's going to show you a little bit different features than what we might have. So there's a few tasks here. You're able to see your bank account, you're able to see your profit and loss, expenses, cash flows, invoices, and you are able to add a custom layout or add some shortcuts for you as well. If we look at transactions, you've got your different types of transactions here. Under sales, this is where we can find product and services. And under My Accountant, you're going to see My Accountant. And under Apps, you're going to see the different applications if you need to add anything. Here is your magnifying glass, which you can use to search for customer suppliers, transaction reports, or accounts. You can search name, address, amount, or date, and you can also type create to add a new invoice. These are also recent transactions. This is your client switcher if you want to go through any clients. And just remember, if you do need more space, this is a feature that's not always shown. Click on this, and it just gives you a little bit more screen to work with. Now we're going to look at our gear icon. As you can see, these are all the different features, and we're going to go to accounts and settings. So under your company settings, you can see here that you've got your company name, the logo, the VAT number or sales tax number, the company type, the contact information, the company address. And again, once you edit it, always make sure you click save and then done. If you go to your sales center, you've got your customized look and feel of your invoices. You've got your sales form content, your product and services, progress invoicing, default messages, reminders, online delivery, and statement information. Under expenses, you've got bills and expenses, purchase orders, and messages. So again, you can switch these on and off. You've got your time settings and your advanced. So advanced, you can go ahead and change your information. And you can close the books. This is your closing books information, your closing date, and a password. You've got your, if you've got construction industry, this is information that we might not have in our system. You've got your company type, your chart of accounts. If you've selected the discount option in your sales form setup, this is what's going to pop up. You're going to get a discount given. You've got your tracking classes and locations, your automation, your projects, if you want to switch this on and off. You've got your managed currency. So I'm quickly going to go in here. As you can see, this is already switched on. Be able to let me go in, but let's see. So we've got our currency. So these are the currencies we work with. We can edit the exchange rate to what we need. So your rate or the market rate. You can go ahead and add a new currency. So you can see that all the currencies that you need would be here. Right. So if we just go back to our account and settings, back to advanced. You've got some date formats and some information that you can do, some other preferences. Under importing data, you can go ahead and import product and services or chart of accounts. So if you were to import product and services, for example, or let's say chart of accounts, you can download a sample file, and that's very important so you know what to use. You can upload either an Excel or a CSV file. You're going to browse your files. I'm just going to quickly go to my import. Going to give you a next button. You're going to map your details. So you're going to map it to what needs to be mapped. On your next screen, you're going to see that there's 10 accounts ready to be imported. The currency, if you've got multi-currency on, because obviously these will be in different currencies, account numbers if needed, and import. So if there are already things on there, you can see it will import or it won't. So here you can see that 10 has been imported. If we go to the chart of accounts, you can see here that we've got our edit button and we've got account history and make inactive. If we do want to change the account names to match, you can do so by going to edit and editing the information. Also know, but by adding a new one, this is where you would choose your sub-account option. So these are all the different types of settings and features that you'll see to get started with your QuickBooks Online account. And now we are going to go to a short break. Thank you so much. welcome back, everyone. Hope that you had a nice quick break. Before we get started with the next session, I just want to mention on the exam. You open the exam, you do need to complete each section, and you do have to get over 80% to pass, and you have to get 80% over each section. If you do fail, you do have 3 attempts to do it, but if you do fail, you have to wait 60 days in order to retry. So really take your time and do the exam. You can re-watch certain videos if needed, but really just go ahead, do it slowly, take notes in the session, and we will be going through a Q&A at the end to get started. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so we are now in part 2 of our certification training, and part 2 looks like this. So we've got module 5, which is supplier purchase and bill payments. We've got module 6, which is customer sale and receive payment. We've got module 7, which is reports, tax, QuickBooks app, and recurring transactions. And we've got module 8, which is online banking. So we're going to start with module 5 now, and we're going to look at lesson 1, which is adding suppliers. So if we look at importing a supplier list, you can see if you go on the left-hand side of your screen, there's a little tab that will say expenses, and then you're going to go to suppliers. On your supplier screen, you're going to see a green button again that says new supplier and a drop-down that will say import suppliers. So on the screen, you can also see your purchase orders, any overdue amounts, any open bills, and any amounts paid in the last 30 days. You're also able to see all of your different suppliers, and you're able to create bills from those suppliers as well. So if we were to create a supplier and we click on new supplier, you have the screen that will pop up. So very simple. You're going to say the name of the supplier, the company name, if that is different, and always remember to choose your correct display name. So your display name is either going to be the company name if it is different from the first name. You've got an address screen where you're going to put the address of the supplier. You're going to put email addresses in, and remember to separate with commas and no spaces. You've then got phone numbers, mobile numbers, fax, websites, billing rates, terms, balance if you want to add a balance in, and you've got your account number as well, and any tax information. So very straightforward. So if we go to lesson 2, and we're going to look at purchase and bill payments, and expenses and supplier credit. So an expense and supplier workflow, what does that actually mean? So we've got option 1, which is an expense, right? And that means you record purchases with a debit or credit card. Then we've got option 2, which is a bank feed. And this is coding expenses with bank downloaded data. So if the best option is to actually use bank feeds, because you're able to pull through all the information and you know that everything has been allocated. But let's say you're using cash or whatever, and an expense is then a much better option. So again, on your expense and supplier workflow, you've got to pay bills later, and this is obviously your accounts payable. So step 1 is obviously you're going to create that bill, and you're going to either create a bill from a purchase order, you're going to create it from scratch. And then your second step is obviously to make the payment. So you're going to apply payments to open bills with either debit cards, credit cards, or checks. So you're going to go to create that bill payment. So if you need to manage accounts payable, what are you going to use? And you are going to use the bill functionality. This is the only way for you to manage the accounts payable. So to create a bill, very straightforward, you're going to go to your create new button or your create new menu, and you're going to click on bill under suppliers. It's going to open up with a bill screen. You've got your supplier that you can choose. You've got your terms, you've got your bill date, you've got your bill number, and it's very important to choose the bill number that is exactly the same as that supplier invoice that you have received. At the bottom, you can see you can choose categories, but you can also choose items. So if you are buying and selling, then you would need to choose item. If you are just buying, let's say something meal and entertainment or advertising, then you would go ahead and put it under categories. Once your bill has been saved and you do also need to make the payment, you can click on that make payment screen. But if you do want to pay at a later stage, you're again going to click on create new, and you're going to click on pay bills. It's then going to open the screen with the payment account. So you need to say which account you are paying from, and you're going to choose the bills that you are paying. So if you don't download bank transactions, how do you enter a business lunch paid for with a company debit card, for example? You are going to use the expenses. So you're going to go to the create new button, and under suppliers, you're going to click on expense. It is then going to open up the screen and you're able to see the payee. So this is obviously where you have had this lunch, the payment account, so whether it will go off the bank account or the credit card. You are going to choose the payment date and the payment method. And if you do have a reference, you can use that as well. You are then going to choose your category, so whether it's meals, entertainment, or client gifts, or whatever the case is, you can put a description in and your amount and your tax. And you click on save. As simple as that. So if you were to add a purchase order to a bill or an expense transaction, how are you going to do this? When you go to create bill, if there is a purchase order, it is going to pop up on your right-hand side of your screen, and it is going to show you all the available purchase orders. You are then going to click on add. So you can add multiple purchase orders to one bill, or you can add one. So now we're going to look at module 6, which is customer sales receive payments. And again, we are going to do a short demo at the end of the session. So we're just going to look at lesson 1 now, which is adding customers. So to import a customer list, right? So if you don't want to add a new one and you've got a lot of customers, how do you go about importing this? So you're going to go to the sales function of the sales center, and you're going to click on customers. Now it's going to give you that green button that says new customer. You're going to click on that drop down and you're going to say import customers. And again, it's going to take you to that import data screen. Remember, you can import more types of data. If you were to add a customer manually, it looks exactly the same as a supplier. It's just a little bit of a different layout. So you've got your different tabs. You can go through, you can add some attachments, you can add some notes in, but the information is almost the same. So let's say if you have a customer that's been added twice, right? How are you going to fix that? And you've actually transacted in both of them. You are able to merge duplicate customer names. So you're going to go to the duplicate customer, you're going to edit the name of the exact spelling of the correct customer, you're going to paste it in the incorrect one, and you're going to click save. It is exactly the same process as chart of accounts, and you can actually do it for suppliers as well. And this will merge all of your details and all of your transaction history into one. And this is a really great tool because it does happen quite often that we do create customers twice or suppliers twice. So lesson 2, we're going to look at estimates and purchase orders. So this is the sales workflow, and this is payment at time of sale. So you've got a sales receipt. So this is a recording of sale transaction and a payment in a single step. Now, when do you think is the best time to use a sales receipt in QuickBooks Online? So a sales receipt should only be used when a customer pays at the time of sale. It should not be used if someone pays later. So a great way to do this is if you have a store and you're selling something and that sale happens immediately, that is a great way to use a sales receipt. Number two is when you're going to group all your deposits together. So you're going to group multiple payments to a single bank deposit. So if you're creating multiple payments for things that's been paid, and this amount is going to come into one bank deposit, this is a great way to handle it. So just remember that you cannot enter a bill if the supplier field is empty. You cannot enter an invoice if the customer field is empty, and you can enter a sales receipt if the customer field is empty. That is not necessary because you are providing sales at the time of payment. So if we look at accounts receivable, so payment on account, what is the process that you would follow? So you would start with step one, which is your invoice. So you're going to create an invoice from estimates or create them from scratch. And an estimate is a quotation. So some countries do use the word estimate, and some of us know it as quotations. Step two is a payment. So you're going to apply all payments to open invoices manually or automatically. And then you're going to group all of those payments into one single bank deposit again, if necessary. So let's say you are making a payment, a client is paying you and they're paying you for 5 different invoices. You would handle that as multiple payments for that invoices. And then that one deposit that comes in from the customer would be linked to all of those payments. So if we look at the estimate and purchase order workflow, what is posting and what is non-posting? So your non-posting items, this is something that will not affect your profit and loss or your balance sheet. So this is in your sales workflow, it's an estimate, and in your expense workflow, it is a purchase order. Now the posting transactions to those, for an estimate, it is an invoice because an estimate gets converted to an invoice. And for a purchase order, it is an expense transaction or bill. So there are other sales-related transactions that are non-posting with an estimate, and that is also a delayed charge. So to create an estimate, very straightforward, you're going to click on your Create New button, and you're going to say Create an Estimate. It's going to pop up with the screen. So you're going to choose your customer. The email will already pre-populate, but you can edit this. You can also create or choose a CC and a BCC. You can change the billing address if necessary. You can choose your estimate date and your expiration date. And if your estimate number needs to be different, if this is the first invoice you are creating for a customer and you are actually taking over from another system or another invoice book or quotation book, this is where you can put in the next following number. You're then going to choose your product and services. These is everything that you've created in your setup. You can put a different description in that is editable. You can change your quantity, your rate, and the amount will pre-calculate, or it will calculate once you put in the quantity and the rate, and then you can choose the tax. You have the option here to save and send, print and preview, or just save it. You can also make any of these transactions recurring. So how would you use an estimate to create a purchase order? So on your estimate, right, once you've saved it, you can reopen it or you can work on that same estimate. You can either create an invoice from that estimate or you can copy to a purchase order. So let's say you are quoting this customer for 20 computers and you need to now obviously place this order to get it. So you're going to click on the drop down and you're going to say copy to purchase order, which is next to create invoice. So once this customer accepts the quotation, you can then send this purchase order off to your supplier, who will then send you a bill in return. So it just gives you that whole workflow, which is much easier than going and creating each transaction on its own. So how do you convert an estimate to an invoice if you are not inside the screen? You are going to go to the, excuse me, you're going to go to the sales center. You're going to go to the sales center and you are going to go to the date and you're going to go to your estimate and you're going to go click on create invoice from your action screen. On converting an estimate to an invoice, it is going to open the screen, and this is basically the invoice screen. So again, you've got your invoice number. If this needs to be different, you can change it. You can add more email addresses. You can add the tax number in or the VAT number. You can change the billing address. You can change the terms. In this step, you can also add in extra product and service items, or you can remove product and service items. And then again, you've got the same settings to save and send, print or preview, and make recurring. In any of these forms, you can also customize them in the form itself. Then we've got our credit notes and customer statements. So why do you use a credit note? What is important about using a credit note? So let's look at a few questions and some comments. So why use a credit note instead of just editing the transaction? This can cause confusion and isn't great record keeping. If the invoice is in a prior period, it will change prior period amounts. Why not just reduce the next invoice? It is important to create a new transaction for each exchange between supplier and customer. Inventory quantities on hand can also become out of sync for a period. Why not just refund in cash and not record? It is important to capture all transactions, paid in cash or not, to ensure clients' records are complete. So this is very important. Like if you are refunding via cash, and your client comes back to you 2 years later and said, you did not refund me for this invoice that I've not taken, you would not have any record of this. So it is so important to use credit notes to keep track of all these transactions, to properly show your clients a history of their transacting history with you. To create a credit note, very straightforward, you're going to go to the Create New button or the menu button, and you're going to click on Credit Note. From there, you will choose your customer and the email address. Again, you can change it, and there will be product and services which you can choose which you are crediting. Now, to manually apply the credit note to an invoice, you're going to click on Receive Payment. Once you've clicked on Receive Payment, you're going to choose your customer, the payment date, so the date in which the credit note has been created, and then you will go and click on the credit note as well as the invoice. So this is a great way to go and partially credit note certain invoices. So we've got customer statement types, and this is obviously around your customer statements. So we have 3 types in QuickBooks Online for your customer statements. So we've got a balance brought forward, which is a customer statement type that shows a list of invoices and payments with opening and closing balances for a specific date range. We've got an open item statement type, and this is a statement type that shows a list of all open and unpaid invoices. And then we've got a transaction statement type, and this is a customer statement type that shows a list of transactions between two set dates. So it really depends on what your client wants to use and what the customer that's receiving these statements want to receive it as. So to create a customer statement, you're going to go to your sales center, you're going to click on customer, and you can send out these statements in a batch. So you're going to select all the customers you want to send statements to. You're going to click on batch actions, and then you're going to click on create statement. It will then take you to the screen, and you're going to choose a statement type. You're going to choose a statement date, which should be today's date, and you're going to choose the start date and your end date. So your end date can be different than your statement date. So let's say your customer has asked you for a statement for May. So you can have the statement date as today's date, but you can have your start date and your end date for that May period. And that is very important. Then you also have your recipients list. So it's going to show you which statements are available and the email addresses. You can add on email addresses here, and it's going to show you statements that have missing email addresses. It's also going to show you the balance for all of your customers. Now, if we look at Module 7, this is reports, your tax, your QuickBooks app, and recurring transactions. And we're going to look at Lesson 1, which is basic reports. So the benefits of creating reports. So why do we use reports? So your client needs to have a clear snapshot of how they are doing in their business. QuickBooks Online reports provide valuable insights into the financial position of a business, the results of operations for a specific time period, statistical information such as the best-selling item or your gross profit margin, and information about customers, suppliers, and employees. So to run a report is very straightforward, and you can also customize these reports. So if we look at cash and accrual reporting, what is the difference? So cash basis reporting displays income when cash is received. It displays income as the date of a customer payment is received, and it displays expenses as of the date a supplier payment is made. Accrual basis reporting displays income when it is earned or invoiced. It displays income as of the date of the invoice and displays expenses as of the date of the bill. So cash reporting is really suitable for smaller businesses that don't carry inventory, and your accrual reporting is for more complex businesses but provides a comprehensive financial picture. So in some businesses or some countries, you are required to report on accrual basis. So you just have to see what is necessary. So there should be some reporting restrictions. And why might you have some reporting restrictions in QuickBooks? So it could be that the user's permissions don't have ability to see certain reports. So you need to go review those permissions and edit if necessary. Verify if that feature is available in your client's QuickBooks Online subscription, because maybe that function is not available. And check to see if that report has been turned on or if that feature has been turned on in QuickBooks in the accountant settings so that you can see that report. If we go to the report center, this is where you're going to be able to see all of your different types of reports. So on your report center, you're going to see it on your left ribbon. You have the option to filter for what report you want to see. So you can say accounts payable or accounts receivable, and it's going to show you all the different types of account payable reports they have. You can also add some favorites to your reporting, so ones that you use quite often. You also have ability to create custom reports, and then you've got your management reports as well. And don't forget, you've also got that performance center, which has a few graphs for you to use. So under your report center, you've obviously got your favorites, you've got your business overview, who owes you, sales and customers, what you owe, expenses and vendors, and sales tax. So those are all the categories of reporting that you do get. So if we look at a profit and loss and a balance sheet, you can see that on this report, there's drop downs and they are summarized chart of accounts for these reporting purposes. So in your profit and loss example, you can see here that your landscaping services has a drop down, and that is under job materials. So you can have a drop down in a drop down. So your job materials has been broken down into fountains and garden, plants and soil, sprinklers and drip. But it also gives you a total for your job and materials. So if you were to close job and materials, you would only see the total, which is 4174.22. If you look at legal and professional fees, that is a great way to see it. If it has that little arrow next to it, that means there are sub-accounts linked to this account. If it is closed, it is showing you a summarized version. If it is open, it is going to show you the breakdown of transactions. So this is a great way to hide unnecessary details and only show the parent accounts in your reporting, but remember that you still have the ability to open these reports. The same with the balance sheet. You can see it as a normal balance sheet broken up between assets and liabilities. You can see here again, you do have those drop downs to open and close those parent accounts and sub accounts. Now we're going to look at the value of reporting and what we can do with them. So to analyze a profit and loss, how would you go about doing it? So what steps would you follow, or what steps would you take to create a profit and loss report that includes a comparison with the previous period? So you're going to open either profit and loss comparison report, because there is one. You're either going to open a straight profit and loss report. You're going to go to customize. You're going to say compare another period, and you're going to choose previous year. You can choose a percentage change or a rand change or dollar change or whatever currency you're in, and then you're going to run that report. You can click on save customization if this is necessary. So you can go to many different reports. So again, I said you can go to your profit and loss comparison report, you can go to profit and loss, you can go to profit and loss summary, you can go to profit and loss detail. It just means that you're going to go and compare this report to another period. The balance sheet, you can also do the same. You're going to open the balance sheet and you're just going to say compare to another period. To look at sales tax, and then we are still in module 7, but we are on lesson 3. So it could be called sales tax, it could be called that. It just depends on your country and your reporting needs. So getting started with sales tax in QuickBooks Online. So assessing the sales tax requirements, you're going to need to know which agencies do they need to pay sales tax to, what is the filing frequency, and where are they located. So to set up sales tax, where are you going to go? You're going to go to taxes in your accountant ribbon, and you're going to go and set up sales tax. You can see here that it's going to tell you that this is the agency for the country you've chosen. This is the start of the tax period, so you can change that. And remember, it says start. You're going to choose the filing frequency, whether it is monthly, bi-monthly, annually, 6-monthly, and you're going to choose your reporting method, whether it is accrual or cash basis, and then you're going to put the tax reference number in there. Once that is done, you are all set up. But remember that you do have to customize your invoice to include that VAT setting. And also you need to review your product and services and your expense items once you have created those that sales tax. So in your product and service, you're going to go to tax. You're going to say that this item is either inclusive of tax or exclusive, and you're going to choose the tax rate, as simple as that. Now, the QuickBooks app, this is a great tool to use as an accountant, as a client of yours. It's just going to help you navigate your business much quicker. So about the QuickBooks Online mobile app. So the QuickBooks Online mobile app, it's free with any paid subscription of QuickBooks Online. It's available on iOS or Android devices. It has instant updates of QuickBooks Online. So if you are working on the web version, and you are making an invoice there, if you go onto the application on the mobile app, you're able to see that invoice. And it has the same level of security as the browser version. So the mobile app, what does it have? So you can see the dashboard. You've got your dashboard shortcuts. You've got some new shortcuts. You've got an all menu button where you can see different transactions. You can do transactions, categories, cash flow, invoices. You can see all of your invoices for customers, and you can create certain forms. So the function that the app that cannot do, it cannot reconcile bank accounts, and it cannot file sales tax. You can email invoices from here, and you can categorize bank feed items as well. Then we've got recurring transactions. So this is very important to really help speed up your processing. So helping your clients create recurring transactions. How are you going to do this? You can set up recurring transactions in QuickBooks Online to manage most of the first transactions in any workflow, like sales receipts, invoices, bills, journals, checks, deposits, or even expenses. So to create a recurring invoice, I'm sure as I've been demoing, you are able to see these recurring transactions on the invoices, on suppliers, on expenses. You are able to do this. But if you want to create one from scratch, you're going to go to your gear icon and you're going to click on recurring transactions. Once clicked on, you're going to see we are here in a recurring expense, but you do have the option to choose many different types of recurring transactions. So if we are putting through a recurring expense, we are going to give this template a name. It is a scheduled type of recurring transaction, and you're going to say how many days in advance you want to create it. Because it is an expense, you're going to choose a payee and the account that is going to go off. The interval is going to be either monthly, daily, whatever you need to choose, and you're going to choose the date. Then you're going to put a start date, and you're also going to put an end date if applicable. You are then going to choose your category details. So if you are doing a recurring bill, you're going to choose item details, but because it is an expense, you're going to choose category. So let's say you know that there is utilities of 300 that needs to go through, and it's in the budget plan, so it has to go there. You're going to put it in. You either can make it billable or not. You can put some tax on it, and you can save the template, and it will run every single month that this one has been created. Now we are on module 8, which is online banking. So banking does take up quite a lot of time because it is a very important part of the QuickBooks Online interface. And we're first going to look at setting up bank feeds. So if we go to our banking center, you're going to go to banking. So you can see there's also rules and you've got banking. You should have all your different bank accounts here and you are able to toggle between them. But if you need to add a new one, you are going to go to link account. So remember that you can either upload a CSV file or you can do a bank feed. So once link account has been clicked on, you are going to sign into your client's internet banking logins profile. Once signed in, it's going to ask you which account do you want to connect. You are going to click the account you want to connect and link it to the bank account that has been created in QuickBooks Online. You are then going to tell it from when do you want the information to be pulled from. Just remember that some banks only allow 3 months that you can go back, some 6. So it will depend on that. And then you're going to click on connect. Once you have been connected, it is going to show you in your bank screen when the bank feed has been updated. So in this case, we can see it says updated moments ago. But if it has not been updated for a while, it would say updated 51 days ago or so forth. Now, if you want to either manage the connections or you want to upload a CSV file, because let's say you only managed to get 3 months bank data on the bank feed, but you need to go back 12 months. You need to then go to upload from file. Here you're going to be able to manually upload your transactions using either a CSV, an OFX, a QBO, a QFX, or a TXT file format. You're going to upload your bank statement in section 3, either dragging and dropping or selecting the file, and then you're going to click on continue. So you do have these two options, manual or a bank feed. Then once you've done your upload of your bank statement, you are going to go and select it to the correct QuickBooks bank account that you've created and click on continue. Once you've done that, you do need to map the transactions. So your first one's going to say is, does your first row have a file header? If it is yes, you need to say yes. It's then going to ask you, do you have 2 columns or 1 column that shows amount, so either spent and received, or one that has negative and positive figures. It's going to ask you which date format are you using, and you're going to select that. Then you are going to map your transactions. So your QuickBooks fields should be date, description, and amount. And then your columns from your file are obviously however you've created it, and you need to map those to the correct QuickBooks field. And then you're going to say confirm, and your bank data should be uploaded. Lesson 2, we're going to look at creating simple bank rules. So what is bank rules? Bank rules automate categorization of the transactions on the bank feed, including assignment of the transaction type, category, payee, class, and location. They can also be used to automatically split transactions. Rules can be prioritized over other rules. They can be copied, edited, and exported. You can even create bank rules to automatically add transactions. So in my firm, I always use bank rules to automatically add those bank transactions because it's really not necessary to go and add them manually. So how would you create a bank rule? You're going to go to accounting and rules, or you're going to go to banking and rules. And you're going to click on new rule. So before you do that, you can see that you've got all your different types of rules here. You are able to edit them, and you are able to put their priority above others. So to create a rule, so let's look at an example. So your client has a preferred supplier for office supplies. To best automate expense transactions from the supplier, what would you do? So you're going to set up a bank rule for the supplier, and you're going to say that the transaction must be this for that supplier. In this example on the screen, you can say, it says, what do you want to call this rule? And we're calling it rental. So we're going to apply this rule to all money out transactions, and it's going to affect all bank accounts. It needs to include all of the criteria. You can say all, or you can say some. You can add many conditions, or you can have one. So if we're going to say it needs to have the description that contains, let's say, rentals are us, or whatever the case is. So it either must contain or it must be exactly that text. Then it's going to tell you, you need to assign it. So we are going to assign this to an expense, and the category needs to go to equipment rental. You can split this. So let's say they charge you a service fee of $20, and the rest is an equipment rental. You can go and add that split. So every time this full amount comes in, it will split it. You can put a payee in, and you can also put tags. And you're going to click on save. So we're going to look at now the banking workflow. So how do you match existing transactions? And you're going to do that with the bank feed. So you're going to create sales receipts, you're going to create invoice payments, and you're going to create deposits. And when your bank feed or your banking data gets pulled in from your bank, you're going to match those existing sales activities to those transactions that you have created. Expenses are the same. You're going to create expenses, you're going to create checks, and you're going to create bill payments. You're then going to match all of that bank data into your different transactions that you have created. So adding a new transaction, you can also add new bank feeds if that is necessary. So when working with bank feeds, what do you normally see? So you're normally going to see a match function that's going to be quite common. You're going to see a rule if that has been created, and you're also going to see stuff like uncategorized income or uncategorized expense. That just basically means that QuickBooks does not know where to allocate this transaction, and you just need to give it some guidance. So to group bank feed transactions, what are you going to do? You're either going to search for all transactions that have been recognized, matched, where there's rules applied, or all the transactions. You're then going to click on the transactions that you want to batch edit. So you're going to click on the different transactions, the ones that you're happy with, and you're then going to say accept. So once those transactions have been selected that you're happy with, you have a few options. You can either accept, update, or exclude. So you'd really use exclude if that was a duplicate transaction that came in, except as if you are happy with where it has been allocated, and update as if you want to change the transaction type and category. Very important is when you are doing your banking, always go to the gear icon and select copy bank detail to memo. You're going to do that, and you're also going to click on show bank details. What does that mean? That basically means that the bank details are going to show as descriptions on your general ledgers when you pull them, and that is very important. You also have other settings here that you can show a payee, you can show check numbers, you can show the amounts in one column. You can have an editable date field, which can be user-friendly, and they are page sizes. So if you have a lot of data to go through, you can simply go and do a 300 per page. If you want to just edit the transaction on its own, you're going to click on the line item and you're going to choose, is it categorized? Are you trying to find a match? Are you recording a transfer, or you're recording a credit card payment? And then you are going to follow the steps below and say add. Remember, you can also split the transactions. Now we're going to look at transfers. So what is a transfer? So summary of the transfer functionality. This transfer screen is used to move funds between two balance sheet accounts. The transfer screen is not used to record income or expenses. There are no customers, suppliers, employees, or product and service items involved. These fields are not available on the transfer screen. And you don't use the transfer feature to transfer from your bank account to your supplier's bank account. Transferring is basically transferring funds from one bank account to another bank account, and that is when you use that transfer functionality. If we look at reconciling the bank, that is normally what you do once you have allocated all of your transactions in your bank account. So reconciling in QuickBooks Online, how does it work? So reconciling is the process to verify that the transactions in QuickBooks agree with the bank or credit card statement. With a bank statement, the power of QuickBooks Online and its smart learning, reconciliation can be done quickly and efficiently. So to reconcile account, where do you go? So you're going to go to your chart of accounts and you're going to click on the account you want to reconcile, and you're going to click on reconcile. It's going to show you the beginning balance. So you're then going to put an ending balance and the ending date. You are able to put service charges if that's where your bank data is out by, if the bank statement doesn't show so. You're then going to come to this intelligent reconciliation experience. So you've got different features in which you can use. So number one is your bank register in your reconciliation screen. Number two is basically showing you the statement ending balance and the cleared balance, as well as the beginning balance and the payments and deposits. Number three is where you can filter between all the transactions, either your deposits or your payments. Number four has more filtering options where you can clear the filter or filter something with a statement ending. Number five is where you can see if your account is out of balance or is in balance. If you see a difference amount, that means that it is out of balance. Number six is you can edit the info. So let's say you made a mistake and you put the wrong ending balance, you can go and change that, as well as the date. Number seven is you can save for later if you do have a difference, if you really don't feel like getting to it, or if everything is good and you have a zero difference, you are able to finish now. And lastly, we've got number eight. So number eight is basically your checkbox. So you're going to sit with your actual bank or credit card statement, and you're going to look through the transactions in QuickBooks and tick off every single one that you see. Instead of doing it the old way on piece of paper, you are now able to do this electronically. So once you've ticked everything and you've fixed your errors, you found all your transactions, you are able to see the zero difference with a tick, and you're able to finish now. And that is basically reconciling your accounts. So we are now going to jump into a demo of what we've looked at in this session, and hopefully it's going to give you a little bit more insight in what we've spoken about. Okay, so we're going to look at the importing function. Here's your bank data, here's your customers, here's your suppliers. We're going to try and import a supplier. So always download a sample file. Going to browse. So actually, I'm not going to import suppliers here. I'm going to show you how to manually import it. We're going to import product and services. Always choose next. Going to ask you to map, so you can see certain transactions haven't been mapped here. Going to say next. You're going to say I sell, buy, track certain items. You can tick these things. You can change the name. You can see this thing doesn't want me to say non-inventory. It wants me to say non-stock, so it is changeable. You can change your sales description. You can change your sales price here. You can add sales tax if necessary. You can say your price includes tax or not, your income account, your purchase description, and everything that follows. I'm going to choose my tax rates. You can see there's no quantity here, and these are the assets. So this is also a great tool to update your product and services. So if you want to change your prices and you just need to go do a quick flush because you've got thousands of transactions or thousands of items, this is a great way to do it. You will click on this button to override the information that's there. If we're adding new things, all you're going to do is click on import. And as you can see, 6 out of 6 products have been imported. Now, if we go to our sales center, you're able to see an overview. You've got all your sales. So these are your quotations. So you can say, I want to see only my estimates, or I want to see only my invoices and in the last 12 months or year to date, or I want to search by a specific customer. All the statuses, I want to see invoices that are overdue, so you can have a look. And what's nice is once you've seen this, you can click on this and say send reminder or send invoice. If we go here, you can see the number of estimates that you have, unbilled income, overdue invoices, and overdue for open invoices and credits, and what was recently paid. You also can do new transactions straight from here. So you can do invoices, import invoices. If you go to the invoices screen, you can see all your invoices here. You can go ahead and do any of these options. For your customer, very straightforward. You're going to click on new customer, fill in the information. So if you're in multi-currency, very important, you're going to choose the currency that your customer is operating in. So you can see here that if I do the first name and the company name that's different, it always filters back to the first name. So all you do is go to company name, put your data in, it can be a sub-customer, your details here, all of this, VAT, and save. If we go to a estimate, we're going to go to edit. And I'm going to create an invoice. Remember, you can also copy to a purchase order. If I say create invoice, I can change the terms. I can change any of these. And I can add more items or delete certain items. And save and send. On your supplier side, exactly the same. New supplier, all your information. You can also import. If you want to create a bill, you can go to Bill, choose a supplier, add all of your details, and add your details for your bill. If it is a supplier that you buy stock from, you would use your items category. If we go to our bills, expenses, we are able to see the different expenses, and it is editable. If we go to suppliers, you're able to see all the different information for your supplier. If we now go to your banking center, going to show you your bank transactions. All right, so you've got your different bank accounts that you can filter through. Here's where you can link an account, and here's where you can upload. So I'm going to show you quickly the upload feature. Right. And because it's a sample company, it's not going to allow me to upload a file. But you're going to go through the steps, and then it's going to let you upload the data. So here you can see we've got a match. All you do is match. Or if you want to change this match, you can go to find other matches, and it will show you the information. If this is a transfer, what you're going to do is say record transfer and choose the transfer account. If you need to batch edit, you're going to click on the transactions, and you're going to click on edit, and you're able to choose your account and your tax rate. You can also look at your categorized transactions as well as your excluded transactions. If we go to rules, we are able to see all of our rules. So to add a new rule, I'm going to name it money out, contains rental. You can add more. So these are the options. You can test the rule. You're going to assign it. And you can auto add. Very great tool. If you go to recurring transactions, that is something we didn't look at. We can create a new type of recurring transaction. So these are all the recurring transactions that you can create. So you can see the list is quite extensive. So if we want to do a recurring invoice, we're going to name your recurring invoice. It's scheduled. So scheduled, reminder, or unscheduled. You're going to choose your customer, date. You're going to say what you invoice. And you're going to save the template. And then every month on the 1st, it will recreate this invoice. This is a great way to actually manage your depreciation. Really great tool to manage this. And we are now going to jump into a short break before we come back for question and answers. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Lauren from Ray and Associates in South Africa, and I am here to answer some of the great questions that came through today from all of you joining Nadine's session on how to get certified in QuickBooks Online Accountant. What a great session, so thank you so much, Nadine. Just taking a second to share my screen. I seem to be having Zoom issues this morning, so please just bear with me. It says my screen is sharing, just checking that everybody can see. It's coming up now. Okay, so yeah, we definitely seem to be having a screen sharing issue. Give me 1 second. Okay, so coming through now, you should be able to see. I'm just trying to check if I can get some hearts that yes, there we go, great, okay. So this is what the screen looks like when you are signing in. As you can see, I have quite a few accountant QBOA companies. So I'm going into Array and then I'm going to just go into a training file. So some great questions came through. Thank you so much, everyone. Obviously, we're not going to be able to cover all of them. There was a great team in the background that was working on this and answering some questions as we were going. So we're going to just look at some highlighted ones and see if we can cover them for you. So one of the ones that came in was when you are processing client payments and they have over or underpaid. And I think that this is such a great question, especially if you're working from your bank account. So we always train when we're training our clients that you want to be able to process any payments that come through on the bank. So if you've got a client that rounds up or rounds down, I know that sometimes they think that they are doing us favors by rounding it up, but they don't actually know how much they're complicating our lives. So, for example, if this client was due to actually only pay 700 and they paid 705, and we want to match it to a transaction, and we want to just, let's pick, okay, for example, let's say these two, and it's totaling up for you at the bottom, and we're going to say here and there and there. And now they've short paid. Okay, I know that this is a large amount, but let's say they only short paid here 100. There is a little toggle that opens up at the bottom of your screen that says resolve. This can resolve for an underpayment and an overpayment. I love this feature because it tracks the tax or VAT associated with you writing off this amount. So if anybody came from desktop, you know that you didn't have this option and you had to create a credit note or a journal. So this is really great. So you are literally here creating a transaction to deal with this 100 underpayment. So we're saying here, who did it actually come from? We're going to pick a client that paid. What are we writing it off to? Excuse me. With some of our clients, we do a customer write-off account, or you can put this to bank charges, or you can put it to exchange rate difference, whichever transaction, whichever account you want to post it to. Does your client track classes or locations? Would you like to put a note? You can. We can then say, right, we are writing off 100 Rand, minus 100, minus 100, 100. And is there tax associated with this? So for us, we want to be able to allocate that we need to be writing off, and there is VAT associated with this, and we're now going to say match. QuickBooks is then going to create two transactions. It's going to create this write-off transaction, and it's going to create this payment, which is going to reconcile and process it from your bank. Right, so it's gone from your bank account, and the invoices that we ticked are going to be showed as unpaid. Okay, let's see. Right, one of the questions that came up, and this comes up quite often, around can you have multiple free QBOA accounts associated with different email addresses? You can. Your accounts do have to be verified when you are trying to do an advisor listing, a pro advisor listing. So you would need to be able to send in company details. So you want to make sure that there is a company associated with all the different logins that you are going to be signing up for. The thing to know is that if you are going to be servicing clients, so we've got a QBOA account in Kenya because you've got clients that run their books in Kenya. We've got a QBOA for the UK, a login for the UK. We've got one for the US. So we had to create accounts in those regions so that we could have clients in those regions. So just be mindful of that. And they are linked to different email addresses. And then I use my main email address to invite me in as part of your team. So you can do that. You can have different email addresses to sign up and then just use one email address to invite yourself in as a team member, because then you can access the company files from one login, which is going to be much more beneficial than trying to remember which email address to log in. Once again, just to find your exam for this certification, if you click once you're in your accountant, so you saw what I did there. I was in my client's books and I clicked on the accountant on the left-hand side. Down the left is your QBOA tools. I clicked on training. And here you can see I have already been certified, so it just gives me a download, but yours would say take the exam. Now the exam, this is self-paced. You can answer the questions. You could pause at any time. You can come back and finish it. You have 3 tries to get it right. Otherwise, you are locked out for 60 days. So if you just follow the training from Nadine this morning, it really should be not too difficult to pass. What's really nice is that if you get 1 or 2 questions wrong, those are the only questions you have to retake. It's only that section. You don't have to retake the whole exam. So don't be scared. You've got all the knowledge Nadine gave you this morning. So you should be able to get this. All right, let's look at some more questions that came in. All right, somebody asked about recurring transactions and whether the next, I just want to talk to you about recurring transactions. Recurring transactions will be set using the settings that you set up initially. You can go in and edit them, but if you're setting a terms for your client, those terms are not going to change based on whether it's a workday or a weekend. So if we're saying your invoice is due in 14 days, QuickBooks is not going to say, oh, the 14th day is a Saturday, we're changing it to the Friday or the Monday. It's not going to do that. It's going to work based on the settings that you've set up for that client or that transaction. We use recurring transactions all the time, especially in our practice, because we're a retainer-based accounting firm. So all of our clients that use our services go on retainer with us. And we run recurring invoices for their retainer each month. We run it to go 13 days in advance. And so that if there's any questions, there's time. And then we run a debit order system that would then debit the amount on their statement each month. So the recurring transactions, I wonder if there are any in my training file. Give me a second just to open that up. And where I found that, I clicked on the gear icon and I went under lists, and there's my recurring transaction list. Okay, so I don't have one here, but let's go create one. It's pretty easy to do. I'm going to go under sales and under invoices. Right, so let's say this transaction I want to recur. You're going to open up the invoice. And at the bottom here, there's a make recurring option. So you give the template a name. So you could just say retainer so that you know what this one is, because like we would have multiple for some clients. I say 13 days in advance. And then I'm going to just put my email. And I want the system to automatically send them an invoice. I want it to be monthly, and it's going to go off the first time on the 1st of August. And do I want it to end by? So if you're doing a project and it's going to be for 6 months, so you could say after 6 occurrences, or end as in none, because they would have to give you notice if you're going to be ending it. So just to be mindful, you don't want your description to say, June retainer, because the July invoice and August and all of them are going to say June retainer. So don't refer to any month or anything in your description, because they will see the same one. It's not going to update and change each month. And you would then fill in whatever other details you want. And you want to tag it. Tags are great for reporting. And we're going to just say save template. So this is going to run every month, and it's going to automatically email it to the email address that we set. So I'm going back to my recurring transactions, and here I can see. Now I could edit it from here. I can use it. So I can create an invoice from this quickly. I can duplicate it, pause, skip the next date, or I can delete. And I can also say edit, and it will open up the screen right here that we were working in before if you wanted to change any of the settings. Okay, so that is recurring transactions. All right, so some questions are coming through around apps and what you could be using for your clients. So some people were asking for a point of sale or a payroll. We've learned very early on, moving all of our clients to cloud, that you definitely need, we call it an app stack, a network of apps, an ecosystem of apps that are going to be able to assist your clients to run their business smoothly. Now, 90% of clients can run in QuickBooks Online. It does everything that they need, and they are happy. As an accountant, you will always need stuff like payroll, and then we always use Dex for clients that the QuickBooks receipt is maybe just a little bit too basic for. And about 18 months ago, QuickBooks launched this app platform. We love it. We know that the apps on here are tried and tested. They are being used right now by clients, by accountants, so you know that they are trusted. These apps, so this landing page, I'm going to show you a few things about it. At the top, it's showing you how you can find apps, what apps clients are currently using. Now, this is a really great thing for us to see when the feature came out, because some of our clients were using apps that we actually didn't even know about. So we run some clients that are actually just subscription-based clients, so we don't do their books for them. And so, they will use their system on their own. They don't need us to use their system. So it was really great to then go in and see what they were using. So, this client's using Transaction Pro. Now, what would they be using that for? Are they happy with it? We tested Transaction Pro before, so it was really nice to reach out to them and see. But these are the apps that our clients have connected to their QuickBooks Online. So it was quite nice to see. Then under firm apps, we could see what our firm had connected to clients. Okay, so these were the apps that we were using, and it would normally show us what's connected here. I see that it's me. Sorry, I'm working from the wrong place. So it's disconnected me from some things. But under here, we can now start looking for different categories. You can search for all of them. You can start looking for different categories. We can type in here to say point of sale. And then we can start looking at the point of sales that are recommended. Now, it doesn't mean that these are the only point of sales that you can use. There is the QuickBooks larger app marketplace, which is just called apps.com. So just www.apps.com. And they have there are thousands of apps that are also on there. So they're not all on here. I know for us in South Africa, we love using Lightspeed, which was previously Vend for POS, but I see that it's not here. So there are other apps that are available. What we did in the beginning when we had clients that were looking for apps before this was launched is we had to start doing research in our region. So we really liked to support local. So we would look for people within South Africa. There weren't that many, but we would find, and then we'd have to reach out to the app partners to say, look, can you integrate with QuickBooks? Can you show us a demo? So I think it's really important, even though the app's here, for you to make sure that it is going to solve the issue that your clients are having, or it is going to make their life easier, it is going to work how they want it. And then just remember that you don't have to be a master of all the apps that you're recommending. We decided in our firm that we were really going to be masterful at inventory apps. because it seems that in South Africa, inventory apps are the #1 apps that we're being asked for. So we picked the top, and those were the apps that we really wanted to. We specialize in Stockpit and Airplane. There is a great webinar that I did with them that is available on the QuickBooks webinars on demand if you want to take a look at that. So we decided that we were going to specialize, that if this is what our clients are asking for, this is what we're going to do. But some of the stuff like point of sale, we don't specialize in, and you can fumble your way through, but clients really want expertise. So we then partnered with other firms that specialize in those apps. So reach out within your network to see if there's anybody that uses any apps that you could then partner with. And it's a really great synergy to be working with other people and, you know, to be able to then grow the services that you can offer your clients. Right, let's see what else came up. Right, point of sale we just covered. Okay, how do I allocate a double payment from a customer? So just once again, this is banking. Let's go back into training. And we are going to go to the banking. So if a client's paid you twice, obviously from banking, you now don't have a match option to match it against. But we are going to create a deposit to the client's account. And the way to do that is to run it through the accounts receivable. I'm going to show you what to do. This will then leave a credit under the client's accounts that you can then allocate against a refund that you're going to be paying them. Right, so let's say that this client, this money that came in is a duplicate. I can't match it because there is no invoice to match against unless they're letting you match against older outstanding invoices. But I'm going to create it as a deposit from the correct customer. The category is going to be accounts receivable. There is no tax allocated to it because this is a non-taxable, it's not a posting transaction. So we're going to be refunding this to the client. Are we linked to a location or a class? Do we want to put a note? And I'm going to just say over here, double payment. And you could put the invoice number that you know, and I'm going to say add. Right, so that's going to remove it from the banking. And then if we go and look at the customer account, just give it a second. Is it yummy? I just want to show you how the credit looks under customers. Clicks on customers. Sorry, my system seems to be a bit slow today. Somebody is just also asking, just so I can see some questions coming in about the limitation to the characters on certain fields. There is no way to increase the character limits, unfortunately. I had that issue yesterday with one of my clients that are trying to put in like 10 email addresses and there's a 100 character limit. So that is not going to be possible, unfortunately. Sorry, it's definitely glitching on that. Give me a second and see if it'll open like this. Here we go. So for those of you that didn't see what I did, if you right click on any menu option and you just say open a new tab, you can then work in multiple tabs across the system. I do this all the time. Okay, so I want to look at multi-choice. And we can see right there is the credit that I allocated against their account. You can now see that they are in credits. And there is the payment that I put in. Okay, so this is what it would look like. It would just sit against their account as the credit. When you refund them, you will allocate the payment to accounts receivable, and then you will have to link the two of them under receive payments. So very important in QuickBooks to make sure that you are matching and allocating any credits from your customers or your suppliers, because otherwise it shows that those transactions are open. So for example, if we just look at multi-choice, we had these two invoices that were open. plus we've got these, here's the unapplied payment, plus this deposit that I did, plus that deposit. These are all open transactions. When you're pulling an age analysis, it's going to show these open transactions. But if you can allocate a payment to settle these two, you want to go ahead and do it. It just leaves your books nice and neat and tidy. So you want to go ahead and do that. Also, under your suppliers is the same thing. If there are credits for your suppliers, go ahead and allocate them. The way that you can see this is, oh, and I don't have any credits, but when you go under your payables, right, it gives you a list of all the suppliers that are outstanding. I'm going to just filter this by supplier name. You can see I put it in alphabetical order. Now, if the supplier had a credit available, it would leave the block here. It would be open to tell you that there is a credit available. Okay, I don't have any, but if you were going to click in that block, it would tell you a credit available that you can allocate against this invoice. So you can go ahead and make sure that all your credits are applied. This is a really important, we do a lot of work with this with our clients when we're cleaning up at the end of the month. Right, so somebody just asked now about how to add account codes to your chart of accounts. So that's going to be under your settings. If you click on your gear icon, you're going to go accounts and settings. The tab that you'll probably use the most under account and settings is going to be your advanced tab. And under chart of accounts, here is an option to turn on or off your account numbers. Okay, turn it on, and then you can have the option whether to show or not show. So this menu option is going to be the one that you would use the most. It's where you set up everything. It's where you turn on multi-currency when you have to, projects, really everything that's important. Make sure that your month is set for your financial year because that affects your reporting. So when we set up clients, we spend quite a lot of time with them in here to understand their business and make sure that the system is going to be doing everything that they need. Okay, let's see what other questions have come in. I think we've still got a few minutes with each other. All right, this question comes up so often about the trial balance. People just want a trial balance of movement. A trial balance is always going to track, it runs as rolling balances, sorry, for your balance sheet. So you cannot just pick 1 month. You cannot just say you just want to see July. It's always going to bring forward your balance sheet transactions from previous periods. So that was just the last question that I got. And then let me see what else I can. Okay, can I allocate double payments? Okay, we've done that. I think that that has covered all of them. Just 1 second. Okay, so I wonder if any of you actually run clients that are on a cash basis. Do any of you run clients that are on a cash basis? You can just put up your hand or give me a heart. Because some questions came through about reporting on that, about unapplied cash. So if you have unapplied cash, it's obviously going to come through on your P&L. So I would suggest you either apply it or put it to a balance sheet account until you are ready to apply it. So the question is, how do we eliminate unapplied cash? My client is receiving deposits direct, which is no invoice or recorded as a cash transaction, but he also invoices other clients. I want to run a P&L cash basis, but unapplied cash appears. So 2 things. How do you want to report for this client? If it's on a cash basis, then obviously the payments are going to be coming through, because that's what a cash basis means, is that it's showing you reports on when something is paid or when money is received. If you don't want the deposit money to show when they've paid the deposit, put it to a balance sheet account calling, cash paid in advance, and then allocate it to the invoice once both payments have been received. But if you were doing proper cash reporting, you would report on that deposit, but I'm not going to tell you how to run your client's books. So what I would do if you don't want it to show in your P&L is that I would put it against your balance sheet, against a control account in your balance sheet, so that it would come off your P&L. Okay, let's see. All right, for bulk invoicing for donors, we have to replicate the same data using many rows with the respective names of participants or members under the description column. So let's talk about bulk invoicing. First of all, there is coming up in advanced is going to be a feature to bulk process transactions. So keep a lookout for that. It is in the time frame to be launched before the end of the year. So I cannot tell you how excited I am about that feature. Currently, what you could do is either you set up these things in Excel and you can import them if you're wanting to import invoices. So if you just click on your gear icon and you want to import data, you can import your invoices. There is an example file, a CSV file that you can download. Maybe it'll be easier for you in Excel. You can duplicate previous invoices, right? So whatever information you put up to before, there was an option. Let's just go back to invoices. There was an option to duplicate. Sorry, not from here. They've moved it. And there it is. So if you just click down the right-hand side, there's a drop-down. These are all your options, and one of them is to duplicate. So if you've previously done that invoice, you can duplicate it. But if that was me, I would set up the invoice once with all the information that you need, and I would recur it. So we do a lot of work with NGOs that are getting in annual donations. And what we do we set up recurring transactions to run once a year. And at the beginning of the year, it runs all these transactions and sends it out to your clients so that it's all done. So you just have to set them up once. Now, setting them up once might be easier for you to do it in Excel, and then you can import them, or just to do one at a time and duplicate it. You can figure out what's going to work the best for you. Right, so another question that just came through now is, when preparing a statement to send to a client, is it possible to add another email address which the statement should be sent? Yes, absolutely. I'm going to show you where we can access statements and how to send them out. Okay, let's click under new. So there's more than one way to send a statement. And I just want to show you, if we go under... Oh, it's going into customers now. Great. One of the ways that I like to send statements is you can filter by all the clients that owe money. So it's just these, and I'm going to say, right, I want a batch action. Sorry, I clicked wrong. Or I just want to send these 3, and I'm going to create a statement. Right, so the different ways to send a statement. We always send an open item statement because it shows you only what is outstanding. A balance brought forward will show you what was the opening balance, what transactions occurred during the date, and what the closing balance is. A transaction statement will only show you transactions during a certain period, but not an open and closing balance. So normally we would do the balance forward or the open item. Okay. It is showing you here that there are no email addresses for these clients. So you can go ahead and add whatever email addresses you want to any of these clients, and you can hit save and send. Now, because we're sending bulk, it's going to do, let's just do this net one. Right, we've put an email address and we're going to say save and send. Okay, so it's opening up here. It's telling you who it's sent to, and I'm going to say send. So it's not giving you the option here to edit. You have to do the option in the transaction. So either here, you're going to load multiple email addresses, or under your customer information. So let's go into Dimension Data, and we're going to click on Edit. And under email, you can then go ahead and load all multiple email addresses. Now, this is the trick. When you are loading more than one email address, you need to put a comma in between the email addresses with no space. So, Lauren at Ray, comma. Oh, that's a full stop. All right, so no spaces, and then it will use multiple email addresses. This block has up to 100 characters, so you can probably get away with about 5 or 6 email addresses. So there is a limit there, but we haven't found many clients that is battling with. Okay, so a question just came through about how do I correct a reconciling amount after forcing it to reconcile and create an adjustment? How do I get rid of the adjustment? What a great question. And this is going to be, I think, the last question of the day because I'm going to show you the reconcile option. Now, this is a fantastic question. I cannot tell you how many clients come to us and they are really battling to reconcile their bank, and we go in like to do a bit of a project work, and we go in and we look at what happened with their account. And we often see the reconciled adjustment. So I just want to say you should never be processing an adjustment unless, like, the rule of thumb in your practice is if it's a few cents, you can deal with it. But for me, because you are downloading from your bank, there is no reason for this account to ever be out of balance. The only time it's going to be out of balance is if you are doing manual transactions, which we really would rather that you didn't. Well, I suggest that you rather didn't and rather work from the bank. Either your bank is connected or you are downloading the CSV file. So the transactions are already brought in. That means that the amounts are right. So why would you be out? Anyway, it happens. So this is a great question. When you force your bank to balance, it creates an adjustment and it posts to an adjustment account in your P&L. Now, there are two steps that you're going to have to do with this option. You are going to have to go to your reconciliation screen and you're going to have to click history by account. Now, only accountant users have this option. Your clients will never see this option. So if our clients have made a mess with their reconciliation, they would have to contact us to come in and undo their recon. So step one, you would go under your history, and under action, you would say undo. This is going to undo the reconciliation from so it looks here that the last recon was done on the 7th of the 2nd, and the next recon was on the 31st of the 12th. That's like a whole year worth of transactions that we're going to be doing. But it's actually going to bring it down here. So we're looking at the 31st of December. So if we were going to, let's say the problem actually happened in January, it means that you would have to undo right to January. So that's a batch undo, which means that it's going to undo all of these reconciliations. Now, that doesn't have to be a big deal because, once again, if you are downloading and using the bank feature in QuickBooks as you should be, this is going to be really easy to solve. If you look under here, there's a column called changes. It's showing you what has been changed in these periods. Now, quite honestly, you should see 0 because there shouldn't be changes, but a lot of the time it happens. It went to the wrong account and they moved it back and, then they reconciled it again. So it's fine. That's why if you even saw in our beginning, we had a balance that was out and you could just go in and tick it. So you would have to batch undo. You would then go to the adjustment accounts. Now, we're not going to have anything here, but you would go to your chart of accounts and you would go to that reconciliation adjustment account and you would delete that transaction. You would then come back to your reconciliation screen and you would put in the closing balance. So let's say we unreconciled to the beginning of February 2024. You're going to go back there and you're going to say the amount and the statement ending date, and you would redo that reconciliation. Okay, so 2 steps. You would undo. You're going to click on history by account. Once again, your clients will not have this option. You're going to click undo. You're going to go to your reconciliation adjustment accounts in your P&L. You're going to delete that transaction and you're going to come in here and you're going to do reconcile again. Remember that when you go into your reconciliation screen, let me just see if there are transactions here. It's really important to know that the transactions with the green block are transactions that have come in with the bank feed. So when we are doing reconciliations for our clients, any transactions here that don't have the green block, I know are problem transactions. They are manual transactions that are not matched to any bank, like this one. It hasn't been matched to any bank, but I also know that I haven't done my June banking yet, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are solving any of those. So what I've picked up quite a lot is that a client has processed an expense from the bank, but there was a bill and they paid the bill also. So there are 2 transactions. One's a bill payment and one's an expense. What they should have done in their bank is just match that line, that money going out, to the bill payment, but they actually created a new transaction. So that means that those expenses have been duplicated. So what we would do is we would take the expense back to the banking screen. And by doing that, you would just click on it and say delete. You're going to say edit and then delete. It's not going to delete the transaction. It's going to put it back into my bank. It's going to just delete. This is the 24th of the 12th. It's going to delete the processing that I did. So I'm going to show you. We're going to go back to our bank transactions. And then you want to allocate it to the bill payments. So you want to remove those duplicate transactions. So it just means that each of the transactions here that don't have a green block need to be investigated. They are affecting your balance sheets and your bank balance. They're affecting your P&L and your bank balance. So you want to go ahead and fix that. So if we now said finish now, that's when it would create the adjustment, the reconciliation adjustment, which you don't want it to do. So I'm going to say save for later. You'll go back to the reconcile screen here. And when you're ready, you could just say resume reconciling. I hope that was helpful. I had a great time. These were amazing questions. Please remember to take a look. Our team have posted some fantastic resources in the chat box. You can get CPD for this event. We will also be sharing recordings. And there are some amazing quick steps that they've done on how to get to your exam, and also some great sessions that are happening today. So there's another one coming up for marketing and masterclass, the masterclass, which is marketing for accountants. So please go ahead and join that. And just thank you for sticking with me today. And I hope this was resourceful, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the sessions. And thank you so much for your time.
Feeling young, I'm feeling bold, I'm feeling new. I'm feeling wild, I'm feeling free, I'm feeling true. I'm looking out, I'm looking in, I'm looking up, 'cause we're right where we belong, right where we belong. I'm feeling good, my heart is beating on the move, and I'm feeling sure the sun will always make it through. I'm looking out, I'm looking in, I'm looking up, 'cause we're right where we belong. This is a moment, stand up and own it. This is a moment. feeling close, I'm feeling whole, I'm feeling now. And I'm looking out, I'm looking in, I'm looking up to right where we belong. This is a moment.